Oh, goodness me, what do we have here? Banjo-Kazooie, obviously, but Shark Food Island, that looks a little bit different from what we remember. Spoiler alert, I'm playing on the Nintendo Switch Online version. How do I prove? There, that's how you do it. There you go. This is my save file I've played on here. I'll show you here. Obviously, you could probably mix everything up together, but I also have 100 jiggies and 100 notes in this game too. So we're going to be doing a little bit of stop and swap. So I will talk to you about stop and swap a little bit, probably in like a post-editing situation, but I more or less just wanted to show you, and I can't go any further. I teased that menu a few times when I was actually playing the game. So we'll talk about it, but a lot of this is an unused feature in the game. However, since it was mostly implemented, we can actually still access a lot of it. So I will be doing that. We'll talking about it and probably just fast forwarding a lot of this because it is going to be a lot of... What in the actual hell? It's a lot of nonsense to do. Kind of a lot of time wasting, and I think it'll just be easier if I actually have this post edited and I can talk about it a little bit more in detail. So just kind of wanted an introduction in the more normal sense. A lot of what I'm going to be doing is here. How to access this also, well, I'll get into all that in a sec. So I will probably see you later. So if you're familiar with N64 games or just general lore around Rare, stop and swap was a mechanic that is heavily talked about in the Banjo-Kazooie games because it's obviously a mechanic that has remnants still scattered pretty much throughout every portion of this game. The ice key is something that eluded a lot of kids, much like me, and it was something that just for years nobody really knew about. Of course, now with modern technology and interviews and all that stuff, we do know a lot more about the whole situation. So this was going to be a mechanic basically based off of a flaw in the N64. So when you removed one of the cartridges, RAM from the game would linger in the system longer than intended. And basically, I think there was something around, the plan was going to be about 10 to 15 seconds, I want to say. And you could maybe keep it in there. This was a flaw, once again, not necessarily an intended part of the game, or the console, but Rare, being the clever bastards I guess they wanted to be, tried to implement a mechanic, hence stop and swap, to transfer over data. So you were going to initially collect the eggs and the key of stop and swap, and then you would switch out the game while the console was still on. So you would basically remove the cartridge, switch it to your Banjo-Tooie copy, and while the console was still on, the RAM would linger in there, the data would still be in there, and new secrets and extra content would be unlocked in the sequel. This was removed for a lot of reasons. The biggest one, I guess, was Nintendo themselves sent a letter to Rare asking to remove this feature as it could damage the system. I didn't know that fully, actually, to be fair, but, I mean, it makes sense, especially if kids are being rough with the cartridge. I mean, you're not technically supposed to blow in it, but everybody I knew also blew into these cartridges, too, just to, try to clean them out if they weren't working, right? So, the other thing, too, was the RAM itself just not staying in as long as they intended. Obviously, the thought process was it was going to stay around for a number of seconds that anyone could realistically swap the cartridge over. I think the actual time it was there was a couple seconds, like 2 or 3 seconds, down to like a millisecond or something. That was just impossible to realistically swap the cartridges. So it was something that was ended up fully shut down completely. Of course, with all this stuff into the game, where clearly had most of it already done. There's rooms, there's dialogue, there's a lot of stuff there. I mean, there's just a few little portions of the game that aren't fully touched up, hence the actual use for stop and swap and stuff like when you enter it in the sandcastle here. There's no like cutscene, it just shows you the location where to go. Like, I feel like there'd probably be a big reveal cutscene, kind of like how you open each of the worlds. So there's still this stuff in here, and every egg area was hidden, and some of them had kind of like interesting areas like that the shark food island that was always just there, kind of wondering, why is it there? What's the point of it? Well, there was a point, or the cellar in Mad Monster Mansion. So there is a lot of things that always stuck in the game, but I mean, there's actually use for it in a sense. So long story short, we have modern re-releases and all that jazz now, and this actually has had some use, so to speak. So first off, in Banjo-Tooie, there is remnants of Stop and Swap as well, and they more or less just give extra content in the game. That will be a different topic, and I eventually cover Tooie, but they had it. It's not transferable, of course, but it's more there. Then, in the re-release of the Xbox Live Arcade versions, when Banjo-Kazooie and all Rare games went to Xbox, the Stop and Swap feature was actually brought back into the game. Now, a lot of this was actually used, and you can actually access this, so doing pretty much everything in the Xbox Live Arcade version of Banjo-Kazooie, getting all these Stop and Swap items, would mainly unlock extra content and there's more cosmetic stuff for Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts, a lot of the car pieces in that game. So it really wasn't super crazy, but I get it was just kind of an extra thing they wanted to do with the re-release, as it was already kind of really knocked out. It's interesting, as there really isn't a whole lot of knowledge of what this actually would have been if fully implemented. I guess we don't have all the details at this time. But how are you supposed to access this, and why are you supposed to access this? Because a lot of this is very weird, I guess, in the kind of just saying it. Like, how are you supposed to figure this out? The codes I'm entering are very long. So if you have all 100 jiggies, the 100 jiggy reward is actually Mumbo. I'm spoiling a little bit of the ending, but Mumbo Jumbo will show you 3 photographs talking about the ice key and 2 of the eggs. It's more or less just kind of telling you, hey, there's still more secrets in the game, and is, once again, the reward that they intended for 100% completion. So clearly this was a mechanic that was brought to near the end of the game and cut at the last minute. I mean, obviously there's like almost 40 jiggies that go unused if you have beaten the entirety of Banjo-Kazooie. So obviously they wanted to give you some incentive for 100%ing it other than just feeling good. So there is a lot of hacking and just looking into the game that people have done. Obviously, there's one that is called the Rare Witch Project. Love that game. Love that name, mind you. It's a very good one. Rare Witch Project, hi, is the group that hacked the game and was able to enter in all the code. So a lot of this stuff is online for people to access. So once again, this is still accessible in the Sandcastle in Treasure Trove Cove, hence why I'm entering all these codes here. The only things you got to do, I'm assuming there would have been a way to get these codes, of course. That is a little aside from the fact that I don't know what they would have done, but yeah, that's kind of really all you can do, but it's cool you can still enter them in. You just have to hit cheat, and then this kind of little riddle / rhyme thing they have you follow in with. They don't really do a whole lot else. I mean, this is completely extra. Nobody actually needs to do this content. I'm doing it just to show you that it's in the game still, because I think it's very cool. But obviously, it's really not needed. And apparently, if you're also playing the Xbox Live Arcade version, it actually counts as cheats, which bottles will confirm to you. If you use cheats in that game, it will actually take you off the so-called leaderboards. Never really did the Xbox Live Arcade portion of that, and I don't really know if it even matters anymore, so just something that I'm reading directly from the wiki where I'm going to be pulling these phrases from. So, yeah, so you enter in cheats, and then you enter in this code. The thing you might be seeing in the footage is I've had to rewind. Thank God I'm doing the Switch Online version, and also, I guess since I talk about this too, why I'm doing the Switch Online version as well is something that I never really realized until this Let's Play, but the fact that this is a 1 per cartridge situation. I unlocked it on my original personal cartridge back from a kid, so when I've been playing on that on the analog, like, you know, emulator thing to make it more HD-ified, so to speak, it still has kept all that save data, and I can't, even if I start a new file, it still is fresh off of that one. So luckily I never did this on my Switch version. I don't know how that's going to work if I like were to reset data or something like that. Don't really know fully. So I'm glad I was able to still capture this and actually get footage for this, because this is something I did as a long time ago as a kid, and I don't know, it's something that not a whole lot of people I'm sure have done, because once again, not really needed, especially on the original, like the original copy of the game. Excuse me. So going in a little bit of the order I think I did it at. I might have to cut actually this around because I'm not actually remembering what the order is. This is a lot of postscript talking and editing. So the first one is the pink mystery egg found on Shark Food Island. It's that little thing right there that I showed right at the beginning of this. But once again, I'll put it on the screen as well. You type in the word cheat with all these, so I'm not going to include that into the little phrasing here. But out of the sea, it rises to reveal more secret prizes. And you go in there. This one's definitely one of the more active ones where it's a jumping puzzle, so to speak, trying to get up there. I guess good that you get this afterwards. I mean, it's not really much of a challenge if you, or not much of a setback if you fall. But once again, for speed purposes, I'm glad I was playing on Switch because I was definitely screwing this up a tad. Good lord. Okay, I think I did the cyan one next, but in Mad Monster Mansion, one of the barrels that was marked 1881 never was able to be opened. Actually, it's apparently a reference. I never knew that. I think I even mentioned it in my scripting of it. It's a tick attack, one of Rare's first games. So cool little tidbit, I guess. I did not know that prior, so don't know how many people did. But yeah, this is the one with the X on the barrel, the one that was just simply unopenable, and it's, you say, don't you go and tell her about the secret in her cellar. Once again, this one's not really super crazy. I mean, it's cool. They got their own little music. Don't know if I'll play that at all in this, but little victory tune, and honestly, I think it's a unique piece for each of these areas, so cool stuff that's still in the game. I like it. Or the darker blue mystery egg that one's in Gobi's Valley. Behind that door, I entered this door in my playthrough because it was right by a bunch of notes. It's also where the last time Gobi's sitting, where he has the honeycomb piece. But you do, a desert door opens wide, ancient secrets await inside. Oh lord, thank god I'm putting this on because I'm also butchering the pronunciation. Apparently I can't talk today. But yeah, you can actually open the sarcophagus. Kind of cool to have little mechanics. I wonder if there was going to be more with this, these areas. If there's something actually doable in here, like maybe little mini challenges or puzzles. I think that would have been kind of cool. Like basically enough for another Jiggy, so to speak. But these are the eggs, but that's more sidetracked than anything. The other one, there's actually two in Mad Monster Mansion. Kind of weird that they do. I don't know why they're not like one in each world or whatnot, but regardless, you have the green mystery egg, and that one is in the bathroom or right on top of Lago, hence why I had that victory music when I went in there. But amidst the haunted gloom, a secret in the bathroom. I just like that there's the victory music every time I go see Lago. It's like the game's telling you he's the best character. The red mystery egg is in the captain's quarters of Rusty Bucket Bay. Once again, this is one that you have to access if you want to get everything in the game, but this secret you'll be grabbing in the captain's cabin. So it's cool, all things considered. I wonder if these ones were like later on where they maybe were going to plan unique areas, but they just ended up, you know, since they scrapped it, put it in the game, they just put it in. I don't really know. I feel like, me personally, would have wanted the secret area for all of them, but it's not that big a deal. The yellow mystery egg is in Click Clock Wood. It's in Nabnut's house. Actually, only in the winter season, weirdly enough. So it's now Banjo will be able to see it on Nabnut's table. And I guess the picture it shows you is the fact that he's sleeping with his newly found squirrel girlfriend. So I guess that's supposed to be in winter. It's also the easiest one to go up there anyways. I'm fine it's in winter because I just hit the flight pad and flew up there. So instead of running up there, I feel like I would have somehow failed that multiple times. And of course, the ice key itself, this is the first one I got in my recording. And by the way, I will say too, you don't need to go in and out of this at all, or you don't need to leave the world. Reset the castle puzzles if you think you did it wrong, or you finished entering in one, just leave the sandcastle, go back in. You don't have to leave. I did this for the ice key and went to the world to grab it, but you don't have to, not at all. It's now you can see a nice ice key, which you can have for free. And of course, this is the one that a lot of people talk about the most, simply for the fact that it is the most just well known, simply for the fact that everyone could see it. It's right behind this Jinjo that you need to get. And I don't know, I tried everything to get this key in the past, and I think it's just my love of this game and the internet that had me grab it. But yeah, with this all being said, we have everything, and now it's just kind of sitting there on our screen. Once again, in the original, there's really nothing you can do about it. And even in the re-releases, you could argue that there's still not really a whole lot you can do. I still think it's cool. It's just a little fact and portion of the game that I enjoy. As I mentioned a few times, like in the Click Clock Wood portion of the video, when I was talking about the puzzle piece and picture frame location, it was just another portion of the game that I wanted to unlock every secret, every little aspect of this game. I love this game so much as a kid, still do to this day. So like looking at this key and wanting to like explore every aspect about it, you know, from like all the secret, unobtainable stuff. And it's really weird, but vindicating in a way where this is something that by all means shouldn't have been accessed, but we can access it with, not even with hacking. I mean, it's still a portion of the game. It's just kind of like not meant to be played, but it still can be. The fact that you can do this without mods or anything is super cool. And I don't know, this era of gaming was always really nice for me, mainly because it was the game era I grew up in and played a lot of, but just being able to access this is something that I loved when I discovered this, probably, I don't know, as a teen or whenever I did, looking on the internet and knowing that this was a thing I could do. It really just, it was a cool feeling, and I just wanted to share it with people. I know people have talked about the stop and swap, and it's not necessarily a hidden fact about the game. Anyone who's been on the internet or likes Nintendo, N64, Rare trivia, they know about stop and swap. But once again, a lot of that's been on like the re-releases like Xbox Live. You can still access this on the original one, so I guess if you didn't know that, there you go. But yeah, that's really it. This is just kind of an extra video I wanted to shove in near the end of this before I ended the game. Of course, I could have had this at the end as an extra video, but I figured just to talk about it, since I've kept brushing over it, trying to hide over it, but I knew I wanted to make a video just kind of going into detail about stop and swap and its mechanics. Yeah, that's really it though. I will probably go back to the original playthrough at the end of this. Don't know how much of me talking I will even keep in here, but I hope you liked this and just enjoyed it. Maybe you learned something or you just found it enjoyable to watch. I like this feature, as I keep saying dozens and dozens of times, but yeah, that's really it. So I'll see you guys later, and thank you for watching.
Wow.